Hello, and welcome to 5 Minutes with Nate. This month's topic is reading. So, reading with deaf students, that is the big topic, isn't it? Recently, I found one longtime hearing teacher, but her ideas and tips really, I feel, apply to the deaf and hard of hearing classroom. So, we're going to go ahead with her research. Three big kind of foundational needs before we even start teaching reading: rapport, relationship of trust, ongoing formative assessment, and parent-teacher communication. So before we teach, during we teach, after we teach, these three foundational ideas make sure that we feel successful. That trusting relationship is so important. Reading's hard, and if students feel they can trust you and you trust them, that positive relationship is going to help during the inevitable frustrations with reading. So here's all the tips from the researcher. Authenticity. Real life. If what we're doing feels fake, students are going to give fake effort, fake energy to what we're doing. Play. So important for young students, especially kindergarten. Play to learn how to read. If reading is fun, there's motivation throughout the frustrations. For example, students often give up fast with reading, but with a video game that's challenging, they'll push through it. Why? Because it's fun. They feel successful. If we're not providing that kind of fun, engaged, powerful feeling with reading, then they're going to want to give up. Now, guided reading, the researcher that I was looking at, she doesn't use the term guided reading or small group reading. She says use the term strategic reading. Why? We're teaching strategies. We're not guiding them to read while we sit back passively. We're actively noticing things and giving them strategies and tips to help include in their thinking and their metacognition and their analysis of what they're reading. Teach word families. An interesting example: if you know one word, really you actually know several words automatically because we add the endings, the prefixes, and suffixes. So we know a lot of words just from one word because of those word families. One-on-one time, it's important. Try to schedule at least a little bit of one-on-one time every week. Now, that's hard for middle school and high school, I know, but it's really beneficial. For elementary, it's important to have that clear one-on-one time when you can focus on the student's individual needs. Also provide that positive feedback and support to help the student feel, I can do this. And that relates with honesty. If we are honest with students and students are honest with us, then we can approach things with open hearts and minds together. And students will be more willing to work hard. Read alouds. Interactive read alouds is really the point. We need to be careful to not ask rhetorical questions, but to ask actual questions, get ideas, look at pictures, use the pictures. Now, the researcher suggested that you read the whole book first, read it aloud first, because when we read, we don't read and then take a pause, read, take a pause. We read. Then we go back and read again and think about it. But to really help students understand the story of it, then go back and really discuss and predict and get the depth. Now, of course, for me, that doesn't mean that you can't read and pause. But maybe think, am I giving students fake perspectives at this time, or what am I doing? Maybe use variety. Do a whole read aloud with no pauses, then do a read aloud with pauses. Use that variety so that students can see different approaches, different ways of enjoying reading. Now, the researcher suggests using what she called a morning message. So if students are reading, struggling with something in reading or writing, do a morning message. What did we do yesterday? What's the weather look like? What are we going to do today? And write that message on the board to model the correct strategies that they can use. And then leave it there all day. And then we can refer back to it. Use that personal student-led example to help model how to apply those strategies or multiple strategies. And then before you leave for the day, read it together again. Helps also with classroom culture. Feel that unity together, valuing our experiences, your personal lived experience. Now, the researcher suggests use a notebook, not worksheets, not papers. The problem with papers is everything is beautifully designed and laid out, and students never learn how to organize information on their own. So if I just give them papers, they just fill it out. But if I give them blank paper, they have to figure out how to order information, how to use space, how to place it on the page, how to write clearly, how to even erase if they make a mistake. If it's worksheets, then can't do that. So the last tip, teach students how to pick a book. Often students will just, I don't know, it looks good, and grab it. But it doesn't match their interests, their needs, their reading levels, anything. We need to teach and model how to pick a book. When a student feels, I don't know, ask, what are your interests? What do you like? What did you read last? Did you like it? Did you not like it? Do you like fiction? Do you like informational text? And then use that as a guide to help students internalize how to pick what they like. Now, 3 things to not do, and it's kind of related. Don't force students to read an entire book if they're not interested. How many of us start reading a book and then we go, whew, that book is not good, and drop it? And that's okay. That's all right. For me, Catch-22, I have tried to read that book 3 times and I cannot read it. Does it mean somebody should force me to read it? No. I just go, and put it aside. I gave it a try. We need to teach students how to be patient. Read a chapter or 2. See if they like it. See, maybe the book gets better. Maybe it gets more interesting. But if they read a ways in, then teach them that it's all right to make a change. How to use that adult way of thinking about picking a book and reading. Second, don't. Be careful with nonsense words. Often, trying to teach different strategies, different skills, we'll use fake words, and it doesn't really help. Now, don't overplan, overscript your lessons. So everything feels very rigid and fake. We need that flexibility, that time, that interaction, that experience with reading to really internalize reading as a thing. Otherwise, it's just busy work. It's just completion based. So what do we do if a student hates reading? What's important is don't, minimize their concerns. Don't minimize their frustrations. Use empathy. I'm sorry you feel that way. The 2 of us together will get through this. We'll learn how. That together is part of that relationship of trust. When we build that trusting relationship, students can be willing. I hate reading, but I love and trust you. So I'm going to go ahead with it to develop that internal love of reading later. Okay, that's a lot of tips. I encourage you to read the podcast. It's in the for more information part. Really, there's so much more ideas and grade-specific discussion. So that's 5 Minutes with Nate. Have a great day.